All right, everyone, thank you again for waiting. This is Sally Gifford, Public Affairs Specialist at the National Endowment for the Arts. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar where we will discuss tactics on how to reach military families in your community. And we have a few housekeeping items to note. You are all muted and you will only be able to hear us. Following the presentations, we will have a Q&A session. And throughout this webinar, you can submit questions and comments at any time using the Q&A box that you see on the screen. It's at the bottom of the screen. We will do our best to address as many questions as possible during the time we have. Please do not use the raise hand button. This webinar will be posted in the audio-video section of our website in a few days, so you'll be able to refer to it then and share it with your friends in the museum community as well at that time. Before our presenters start, I would like to thank all of our participating museums for helping us raise awareness of Blue Star Museums. Please remember our big national launch announcement date is Thursday, May 26th. That is the date when the Summer Blue Star Museums map will go live on the NEA website arts.gov. May 26th is when you can find your museum on the map. Before May 26th, the map features museums with year-round resources for military audiences. So now I would like to introduce Wendy Clark, NEA Director of Museums, Visual Arts, and Indemnity. Wendy?
Thank you, Sally. And thanks to all our Blue Star Museums for your partnership. This program would be only a nice idea if it weren't for you. At the Arts Endowment, we believe in partnerships at the national, state, and local level. And we also encourage access to the arts to many different audiences. Let's review the basics of the program. Blue Star Museums is a collaboration among the NEA, Blue Star Families, the Department of Defense, and more than 2,000 museums across America to offer free admission to the nation's active duty military personnel, including National Guard and Reserve and their families, from Memorial Day, May 25th through Labor Day in 2016. May 30th through the 5th. Participating museums are featured on a map at arts.gov. As Sally said, that'll go live on the 26th. Military families can plan their summer museum trips by going to the map, clicking on a state, and all the participating Blue Star museums will appear, including website links. So, who exactly is eligible to attend your museum for free under this program? The free admission program is available to any bearer of a Geneva Convention Common Access Card, the CAC, a DD Form 1173 ID card, the dependent ID, or a DD Form 1173-1 ID card, which includes active duty U.S. military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, as well as members of the National Guard and Reserve, U.S. Public Health Service Commissioned Corps, the NOAA Commissioned Corps, and up to 5 family members. Which family members can visit a Blue Star Museum? A family member of active duty military may include a spouse or child, aunts, uncles, grandparents, etc. It's important to remember that the active duty member does not have to be present for their family members to enjoy a visit. That means a military spouse can attend with his or her children. Just show the proper ID as described here. It also means a grandparent can attend with their grandchildren. Again, just show the proper ID. Have a question about audiences? Refer to the frequently asked questions section of the PR toolkit. And if you're unsure about an admissions situation, just use your best judgment. If you have questions, contact us at bluestarmuseums@arts.gov. If you're curious about becoming a Blue Star Museum member and you're not yet, here are the top reasons for joining the program. Are you looking for new audiences? Blue Star Museums is a great bridge to reach those audiences. If you have community outreach efforts, Blue Star Museums is a great way to align with or enhance those efforts to deepen ties with this audience throughout the summer. Do you need a positive news story? This is it. Even museums that don't have a big military audience recognize the benefits of this gesture of military appreciation. By participating, museums are creating a new generation of lifelong museum goers. As far as positive feedback, I'll let these testimonials from military families and participating museums speak for themselves. Sally, would you take it from here?
Thank you, Wendy. Just to remind everyone, as a PR specialist at the NEA, we're working with Blue Star families to promote this program and share it with a range of audiences in the museum community and the military community. And to do that, we are offering a PR toolkit. Many of you may be familiar with this. It's available on our website now, and we have sent you the link through a recent newsletter, and we can send it again. This PR toolkit offers consistent, up-to-date language, tips, tools, marketing materials to really make it easy for you to share news about this program. We have a sample launch announcement press release that you can all use for May 26th. There are postcards that you can print out and posters. There is a window decal. Museums asked us, can you create an artwork that we could use as a window decal? So we responded. And we also have sample ads that you can put in your community newspaper. So we're really trying to make it easy for you to promote the program. If you are going to host an event around the launch or otherwise, we have event planning tips. And in addition to these tools, we also have social media tools. So the hashtag is hashtag Blue Star Museums. If you go to the NEA or Blue Star Families websites, you'll see lots of social media channels where you can share your Blue Star Museum stories. And if you use the hashtag, we'll be able to follow the conversation. So look for us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and share your stories. We love seeing photos of families visiting museums all summer long, and that's a great way to stay engaged with the program and let us know what fun your museum goers are having at the local level. So with that, again, I just want to remind everyone about the May 26th national launch date. We'll be announcing the national press release on that date. And then we also ask you to use the PR toolkit to post your own releases so we can make a really big splash on Thursday, May 26th. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to our national partner in Blue Star Museums. Banna Miller is a communications manager with Blue Star Families, which is our national partner, along with a collaboration by the Department of Defense. And Banna will be talking about Blue Star Families. Thank you, Banna.
Thank you so much, Sally. I'm really thrilled to be here today. We are so grateful for your support of and participation in this program. The response to Blue Star Museums within our military community has just been overwhelming the last 6 years. We know that there are families who plan their cross-country moves around Blue Star Museums. My family will be doing that this summer as the Army moves us from Virginia to Texas. So I'd like to extend my personal thanks as well. Blue Star Families is all about creating community between military families and their civilian neighbors. So this Blue Star Museums program is such a great bridge from the communities out to the military families who often feel isolated. Every year, Blue Star Museums conducts a military family lifestyle survey, which gives us a unique understanding into the challenges facing modern military families. And overwhelmingly, these survey responses tell us that military families believe that most Americans do not truly understand or appreciate the sacrifices they make as part of their service to our country. Military families relocate more often than civilian families. They're more likely to be married at a younger age, have young children at home compared to their civilian counterparts. And our mission at Blue Star Families is to provide solutions to these challenges. Blue Star Museums is one of those solutions. As a Blue Star Museum, you're not only giving back to military families and helping them get to know their local communities, you're helping us create a generation of lifelong museum goers. We've already seen some of the comments that we've heard over the past 6 years of this initiative. Here are a few more. Again, our population is just overwhelmed by the open arms of the museum community through this program, and the thank yous are very heartfelt and real. What you're doing is making a huge difference in the lives of these military families. It's education, it's memories, it's building families. And once you've opened the door to them, they're going to keep coming back. As I mentioned, Blue Star Families is all about creating community connections. That's what you're doing with this program. In addition to the wonderful resources mentioned, there are resources all over the place that can help you open that door to the military community. We are here to help you leverage what you already do and use those community connections that you already have to reach the military population. Our Blue Star Arts program manager, Susie Guardia, is always happy to work with museums to support your outreach efforts. Sally has provided some phenomenal resources in that PR toolkit that she mentioned. Again, we're always available to help you amplify your message. In addition to our national Facebook page, we have local Facebook pages that can reach out to military families and their supporters in your state or city. We will share your blogs, we'll share your tweets. Keep that information coming throughout the summer. What we found is that military families will go out of their way to visit a Blue Star Museum. They'll tell their civilian friends and neighbors about their experiences, they'll spread the word, and they will keep coming back. But the key is opening that door and letting them know about that initial opportunity to bring their family during the summer months. So whatever you can do to share the news about your participation in the program is going to go a long way. We have a lot of new initiatives planned for outreach this summer. We will feature participating museums across our social media platforms. Our weekly museum roundup will include running contests and giveaways, encouraging our followers to tag the last Blue Star Museum they visited. So we will be directing traffic back to your websites and social media platforms as well. Another new aspect to the program this year comes in the form of our partnership with Scout, which is a military discount app. Scout will be able to let people know when there's a Blue Star Museum in their area, and they will help connect us with people who take part in the program. Our goal is then to be able to share that information with you so we can maintain communication and really extend their engagement journey both with Blue Star families and with your museum. We will have more information on this throughout the summer, but we're really excited by the possibilities. We're looking at hosting events all over the country throughout the summer, and we're always happy to work with you to plan something in your community. We have chapters in communities across the country. Our chapter directors are amazing boots on the ground, in addition to the national support you have in myself and Susie Guardia, our new Blue Star Arts Program Director. Again, don't hesitate to reach out. We're looking forward to working with you, and thank you again.
Thank you so much, Banna. We appreciate the insights you bring as representatives of the military family community. And just as a reminder, the toolkit this year includes some helpful insights from Blue Star families on military culture. So some things to remember when you're working with military families, some challenges and issues they may be facing. So look in your PR toolkit for some tips there. And now I'd like to introduce another key team member in this effort. The Department of Defense has been a key team member to help us reach the military community and share the news and get military audiences excited about Blue Star Museums. And Bruce Moody, Public Affairs Specialist with the Military Community and Family Policy, has been instrumental in this effort, creating new and interesting and engaging ways for military audiences to get to know Blue Star museums and visit Blue Star museums. And we appreciate all of your efforts because, again, Blue Star Museums is a collaboration between the Department of Defense, Blue Star Families, and the National Endowment for the Arts. We each bring our strengths to bear, and it's a team effort, and we appreciate all of our collective efforts. So with that, I'd like to introduce Bruce Moody, Public Affairs Specialist with Military, Community, and Family Policy at the Department of Defense. Bruce?
Thanks, Sally. Thanks, everybody. And good day to everyone who is participating on this call today or is listening to a recorded version of it. We're really so glad to have your participation. I can tell you that there is such gratitude for Blue Star Museums and for the museums who step up to be part of this initiative. And that's gratitude from the leadership and the families. We engage families all the time throughout the summer on this, and the feedback that we get from families about what you provide is just phenomenal. This is seventh year, seventh year we've been doing this. Now, in social media years, that's it's kind of like talking about dog years. So a lot has changed over the last 7 years as when it comes to social media. So what I want to do with my time with you today is talk to you about some of the concerns that people might have about social media, especially as it pertains to engaging military families, and some of the ways that you can be involved in engaging military families, and partly that would be through partnering with us. Yes, we are military, community, and family policy, but nobody knows what that is. Our forward-facing website and our brand and our face to the military community is Military One Source, and that's how most military families know that. But let me just get started. As I had said, a lot has changed over the years, and a lot about what's happening on social media is giving people pause. There's a lot of bad things happening on social media, and oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for advancing the slides, and I think I'll do the same. I do a lot of speaking to groups, and I just did a series of webinars 2 weeks ago, and the sole reason that they invited me to speak is because they said, is it right for us to be engaging military families? We've got ISIS, we've got terrorism, we've got cyber threats, we've got a lot of bad things happening. Is it really appropriate to be reaching out and talking to military families at a time like this? And I can tell you, absolutely yes. And what that yes means is both in policy, principle, and practice, the Department of Defense treats social media as an important tool for reaching out to its various audiences, to include military families. It is a valuable asset, and in the words of the DoD, like any asset, it's something to defend and protect. What that means for us in the context of Blue Star Museums is that you should all feel quite comfortable to engage social media, to engage military families and talk to them about what you have to offer them. You're not talking about military operations, troop movements. You're not cutting out any critical or sensitive information. You're not putting out information about the personal details about family members, and because of that, because of the nature of your conversation, it is absolutely within the realm of what is acceptable and frankly encouraged by the DoD. So I just want you to feel completely comfortable, not only, of course, with the safety of individuals, but with are you going in line with the wishes and policies of the Department of Defense? Yes, absolutely. Now, I'm in the Pentagon. which has some advantages, but it has a lot of disadvantages. What really matters when it comes to military families is where they are. And so we have essentially a website which is the yellow pages for all of the military installations out there. And you may know what bases are around you, but this site, militaryinstallations.dod.mil, will not only get you the main operator for the installation, but you can find really important individuals with this website. You can find the public affairs officer. You can find the morale, welfare, and recreations people. And once you click in with those people, once you introduce yourself and tell them who you are, where you are, and what you're offering their people, then I would absolutely do the ask. You absolutely go to them and say, how can you help us get the word out? You're definitely helping each other by doing so. So I would encourage you to find the contacts at your local installations. Reach out primarily to the Public Affairs Office, to the Morale, Welfare, and Recreations Office, and see how you can end up working and collaborating with each other. And then there's me. I'm the social media lead for Military One Source, and honestly, the easiest way to help you collaborate with me is to just email me your stuff. I'll say straight from the beginning though, our channels are increasingly crowded. We have picked up a number of new campaigns that we are trying to support, and so I can't post everything. In fact, I will be, to be honest with you, only posting a portion of what we are getting, but we will make every effort to look at what we're getting and create a good cross section, so that we're showing the museums from the various geological points on the country, museums with different focus. Try to show the diversity of you, and when we get these things out. But honestly, if it's something that you can put in an email, it's something that we can probably use. Maybe it's a link to a YouTube video. Maybe it's an image. Maybe it's a link to your website. If it's stuff that you can put into an email, it's probably stuff that we can find a place for on social media. So I would recommend that you reach out to us. And we are the military, but we are dealing, of course, with military families. So we have to engage people where they are, and so we try to keep their interest. And one of the things that we do every week, we actually do this every Wednesday, is we have a thing called Name That Installation. So what we do is we post a picture of an installation, and we ask people to be the first to identify what that picture is and where that picture is. And interesting side story on that, just to give you an idea of how effective this thing is. On April Fool's Day of last year, we posted a patch of grass. And somebody got it because it was a patch of grass from Sasebo, and apparently in Japan, the grass grows as a different type of grass. I don't know my grass. I don't know my lawns, but apparently it's unique in its type, and somebody got it. We were preparing to zoom out the photo over the course of the morning, and somebody got it. So that's just a way of saying that people pay attention to these sorts of things. What we'll do for the summertime is tweak that engagement and just call it Name That Museum. And we did it last year, and we want to do it again this year. And this is, and I haven't seen this slide for a long time, but I believe this is this is Tacoma, right? I think this is the Children's Museum in Tacoma, Washington. Anyway, if you have a museum and you want to help participate in this Name That Museum contest on Wednesdays, send us a photo that you think is kind of unique. Um, and of course, let us know what the museum is, and we'll try to get your museum in that weekly installment. Now, um, when you're giving material to us, but also when you're posting information out for other military families and people in general, as you know, because I look around this room and I see a lot of people with mobile devices. Most people are online, spending their time on social media, and they're doing it through mobile devices. We keep our metrics, and according to our metrics, about 83% of people who come to our Facebook page are coming to us on a mobile device. So that simply means you got to use big text. All right. You have to use something that's got to be visible on a cell phone. Let's just get right to it. Big text. The important information. So the example that we have on the left is, sadly, it did make it to our Facebook page, but I didn't like it. But that's the sort of thing that's just not going to make it on a mobile device. And what we produce in our office are things like on the right, where it's the basics, right? It's the who, what, when, and where, and it's brief information. It's big text. It lets people know exactly what's going on. I would highly recommend that approach when you're trying to engage people on social media. Hashtags is another great way. We're using hashtags on Facebook and not just Twitter anymore. So in both realms, hashtags really help to do two things: to join a conversation, to join our conversation with Blue Star Museums, but also to join the museum, the conversation the military families are having, and those sort of happen organically. It's sort of the community of military families have sort of rallied around their own hashtags, and it just is what it is. So I can tell you that for military families, MilFam and SOT, which stands for Support Our Troops. If you're putting out tweets or you're putting out Facebook posts and you're using these hashtags, they will be brought into the conversation that military families are having, and it will be a great way to insert yourself into their conversation and to be seen. And a great way to ensure that you're bringing the whole conversation, you're joining the whole conversation, is of course to use also the Blue Star Museum's hashtag. And then there's other hashtags, and these are the ones that end up trending, right? So March 14th was Pi Day, right? 314. All right. Anyway, these are what they are. Now, these can be tricky because these can become meteorically popular, and 45 minutes later, people are over it. So you have to pick and choose your trending hashtags to join. And if you can't link what you're saying to the trending hashtag, then I wouldn't recommend just throwing it in there to join the conversation. Try to find a way. Now, Pi Day was in March, so that's in the past. But try to be creative if you see a trending hashtag to find a way to bring that into your conversation, and then you can go forward with that. Tweets, tweets need photos. Actually, the truth is that the more popular you are, the less you need photos. But I don't think any of us, myself included, are in that category. If you're anyway, if you're one of the candidates who shall not be named in this in this discussion. You just need to print words and you get attention. But us, we need photos. So, I totally understand that we are, as a group, large museums and we're small museums. Some of you are going to tweet, and then you're also going to be the ones turning out the lights at the end of the night. And I totally get that. And if you want to support, if you want to be a part of our social media efforts, and you're not a social media person, just email me stuff. I guess that's my foot stomper there, because I want you to be a part of this initiative, and I don't want either a small staff or you not feeling like you're comfortable out in the social media realm. I don't want that to be the barrier. So just email me stuff. So on Facebook and Twitter, here are our handles where you can find us. And again, this is how you find me. And I have a team of people who support me. So when you send something to me, I share it with them, and we do what we can to bring your contributions into our social media messaging. So that's my presentation for you today, and I just again want to thank you all for being part of this really terrific program. It's valued. I can tell you directly. I can tell you how it's very valued in the community of military families. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. We appreciate your collaboration in this endeavor. Next, I would like to introduce Chris Scorza, who is the Education Curator at the Museum of Contemporary Art in San Diego. And before I introduce you, Chris, I just want to say there are so many museums who have participated in Blue Star Museums who are that are using this program as a way to reach military audiences in very innovative ways. So we heard that the Museum of Contemporary Art San Diego was doing some really interesting work, and we wanted to use this webinar to share Museum of Contemporary Art San Diego's efforts with you. Maybe they'll spark ideas. Maybe they will get your wheels turning. Obviously, there is no one size fits all, but we hope you enjoy this presentation of a best practice. And Chris Scorza, thank you again for your presentation. Chris?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure, and I love attending webinars where I get to learn too. So thank you to the speakers that spoke earlier. So my presentation, and I think I have to advance our slides, is titled From Welcoming Actions to Meaningful Interactions. The Museum of Contemporary Art San Diego joined Blue Star Museums in 2011 with our director really being incredibly committed to this program. With more than 300,000 military personnel and family members living in San Diego, we thought we needed to do something and be involved and supportive. We have one of the largest Navy bases in our country here in San Diego, and we do see that rotation of families, and we want to engage with as many people as possible. So when we started, our biggest commitment was to take Blue Star Museums to a year-round initiative. We saw the tremendous benefit of seeing more visitation during our summer, but we recognize that San Diego is lucky to have summer year-round. So we decided internally to allow for that free admission to extend year-round. And that was our first sort of taking it from one small step to a broader step. For us, in terms of cost, it seemed something that we could afford. It would be a generous fee to engage our families that way. And then when we started seeing that visitation to start being constant and start to see that extended family was more present with us, we started mulling around with new ways in which we can extend our efforts further. And we started treating military families and personnel with the same benefits of membership. So if you're a military family or personnel, you get the same prices for summer camp and family programs or lectures that our members would get without having to pay a membership due. And that's been really impactful for us. Last year, probably about 40% of our attendees at summer camp were military families that supported us and wanted to come. And in 2013, we got together again, and very serendipitously, our director was in a flight where he got to speak to a member of the Point Loma Medical Center about a very unique treatment program called Oasis that treats PTSD in a residency format. And an important element of that residency program was to provide recreational therapy. And we sat with that group, with a group of doctors, with a group of recreational therapists, with military personnel to talk about how can the museum become an art oasis for this group. A group of about 10 or 15 patients are in rotation for 10 weeks. And as part of that, they go on surfing trips, hiking trips. And we thought, well, let's have them come to art field trips and start engaging with them. So we partner with a local organization, an organization that's primarily constituted of a one-woman show called Combat Arts, who had been offering art making at the base on a volunteer basis, and ourselves. And we chatted with her and we said, how do we expand the art exposure from the making and from being engaged to coming to the museum and finding in the museum a venue. I think for some reason I'm not seeing images in the slides that you guys have seen, and we had them before, so maybe we'll share them later.
We can we can make sure we get those images in the archived version, Chris. Thank you.
Okay.
Apologies for that.
No, that's okay. So we started working with them with museum visits and guided experiences and a weekly art making session at the base. And we saw incredible transformations. One of the things that many of the therapists were talking about is that it took so many people that were in a very quiet, nonverbal stage to a conversational stage, because the arts became a vehicle for an extended vocabulary. We started to have conversations about family, about what their experience in their own bases, what their combat experiences had been, what was their current status, what were their hopes and dreams for the next relocation. And that group has seen over 75 members working closely with us. And after a year of what we called a pilot initiative, we decided to continue supporting, and we seeked out funding to be able to pay our teaching artists at the base and 2 teaching assistants. And these teaching assistants are graduates of the program, so they're military personnel who are either in a retired phase or continue to be active duty that wanted to contribute to the conversation and support their peers who really find in art a great opportunity. And we worked together, put a grant proposal, and got it supported by the California Arts Council. And we were really excited. And today we continue to do the program, and those military members who've graduated from the program and still live in the area all the way to North County and Camp Pendleton continue to come down to other engagements. At the end of each year, we do an exhibition showcase. The first exhibition showcase was scheduled to be on view for 6 weeks. And due to the tremendous success of seeing an increased attendance of military families to the exhibition, we decided to extend it through the summer. And we're going to do that this year again. Our sort of show goes up at the end of July and will be on view through Labor Day, where you can see what these participants have to share. And you'll see those images when you get the summary or the recording of this presentation. If people have questions, I'm more than happy to answer. I, like my peers, forgot to do a slide that had my contact information, but we can add that one to the slides that are going to be shared that show the images. Sally, are you there?
Thank you, Chris. Again, apologies for the situation. We will have the full deck in the archived version so everyone can enjoy the images of the Art Oasis program that Chris described. Healing arts is a big topic these days. We're all working on healing arts programs to one extent or the other. And Blue Star Museums are a great way to very informally provide a place of solace to families who are facing some difficult times together and challenges of limited time and resources together. So now is our Q&A section of our webinar. If anyone has any questions about how Blue Star Museums works, or any questions for Banna or Bruce or Chris or Wendy, we welcome answering those. And one question I have for Chris Scorza is, does the San Diego Museum offer a military membership rate? Chris, do you have any information on that?
Yes, we offer a membership status and it's free of charge. So by showing your military ID, you can be part of any of the member level programs or initiatives as if you were a member.
Wonderful, thank you. Another question that comes up, or that I think is worth bringing up, is from the material, Banna, that you provided in the PR toolkit. Banna, if you could discuss maybe 3 challenges that military families face in terms of interacting with museums, what would those be? Or what are some things that museums can think about when they're interacting with military families?
That's a great question, Sally. One thing that you really want to remember is that because a lot of these military families are going to have young kids, it might be helpful to give them some tips on how to attend a museum with young children. How to really incorporate and make their trip easier when they've got kids in tow. That's something that we hear a lot from our membership. That sometimes military service members and their families seem to have their own language. Don't let that be a barrier to you. There are a lot of acronyms, but that they're just like normal people. They haven't, we've talked about cultural competencies in the past, and they're not all in the infantry. They haven't all, killed somebody, that kind of thing. So that's they're regular families who just want to have a great time at your museum.
Thank you, Banna. Another question that we received is, my museum offers free admission and membership to all. Do you have any suggestions for other things to offer to military families? Well, one thing I would note is, again, the good publicity that being a Blue Star Museum offers to you. In addition, there are many museums that offer free admission to military families and to general audiences throughout the year. By being part of this campaign, this military appreciation program, you're joining with a national effort that has a lot of visibility to say thank you to military audiences. So it's being part of a larger effort and garnering the good publicity that entails. Wendy, do you have anything else to add to that, or?
I think a lot of museums might do special programming or special events, perhaps around the 4th of July, or special activities for a certain age group, or bring your grandparent to the museum day. I wonder if if anyone else has any other ideas, you could chime in.
I would note that the Blue Star Families chapter directors, are there more than 50 chapters now, Banna?
There are. That we have chapters in just about every state. We have, and in places where we don't have on the ground chapters, we do have Facebook pages. So we have a virtual presence, and we do have communities in addition to chapters.
One thing different this year is you noticed when you registered that we had an option for, if you want to pursue more engagement with Blue Star families, we would then, you indicated such on the registration, and then we'll share all your contact information with Blue Star families, and you can set up any kind of special partnership or programming. They'll reach out to you if you chose that option. If you didn't and you are rethinking that, you can just reach out to us here at Blue Star Museums at arts.gov. One other tricky subject that we deal with every year is why is the program not for veterans? And this program was created specifically with the children of those deployed in mind, and we knew it wasn't an easy ask for the museums to give up their summer revenue. So we try to handle it case by case when we get those inquiries. Some museums, of course, do include either discounts for veterans or they're free anyway. So just to let you know that we're sensitive to that. We don't have plans to change that now. We think right now the program has a specific purpose. And know that you can reach out to me or to Sally or to Kathleen Dinsmore, who is in the materials. If you have any tricky situations, we'll help you manage them.
Thank you, Wendy. We have a question. Do you have recommendations for military discounts in museum stores in conjunction with the Blue Star Museum's program? Is that expected?
No, it's not expected. Again, the range of museums, as Bruce referred to, the size, the geography, the operating budgets, your mission. Some are historic houses, some are botanic gardens, zoos, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. So the range is so vast, and we defer to you for those decisions.
Thank you, Wendy. I have a question for Bruce. In terms of, I know in past surveys, museums sometimes they ask, it's I don't know who is the right person to contact at the local military installation. There's a military installation near my museum, but I'm not quite sure who is the best first person I should pick up the phone with. What would your recommendation be, Bruce?
That's a really good question because usually our installations have fences, and very, very few people um, really know who to talk to on the other side of that fence. Uh, let's assume that you call an installation and you just end up with the base operator. Really, you can't go wrong by asking to speak with the public affairs office or the morale, welfare, and recreations office. Um, and it really is going to help each other. The public affairs office, they're going to be the ones who are taking care of the on installation newspaper, the social media feeds, and these feeds don't feed themselves, and so you would be helping them by providing them really excellent material that would be relevant for the local audience. And I can tell you, as someone who has been in an installation public affairs office, several of them. I retired from the Navy in 2007. Um, you should definitely feel completely comfortable to get on the phone, call if only the base operator, ask to speak to the public affairs office, and introduce yourself and let them know that you're out in their community, or you're in the community, and you want to reach out and offer something to military families. Now, I'll say that they probably don't know what the Blue Star Museum's program is. So begin by letting them know about what this initiative is. But absolutely feel comfortable to engage the local public affairs office.
Thank you, Bruce. And one last question I received: are recruiting areas a good place to advertise Blue Star museums? I would say no, because those people are not yet active duty service members. And this program has a pretty narrow scope in terms of audience. Blue Star Museums is for active duty military, including National Guard and Reserve. It's not for people who are thinking about the military. It's not for people who have retired from the military. It's for the people who are active duty, who have limited time and resources to be with their families. So this is a nice way to say thank you to them. And just as another note, you don't have to have a whole family with you to enjoy a Blue Star Museum. If you are an active duty, single, fabulous singulaire, you can go into a Blue Star Museum and show your ID card and enjoy what the museum has to offer. All you have to do is go to the map on arts.gov, click on a state, see which museums are participating in that state, and you can enjoy it with your date or by yourself or with your family. But again, this program is for active duty, so focus your efforts on installations, social media. You can work with any of our partners to help get the word out at DoD, Blue Star Families, and NEA.
Sally, before we wrap up, I did want to point out one small suggestion, actually, for if you're dealing with the either the veteran question or other issues that arise. We find that in some museums, of course, you've got volunteers at the front desk. So make sure you properly train people about what Blue Star Museum's program is for. We do notice that sometimes the front desk people don't know the policy, and that can prevent any misunderstanding. So that's just another suggestion that over the years we've noticed.
Thank you, Wendy. And please know we will be sending out emails throughout the summer with tips and tools and reminders on how best to reach these audiences. And if you have any questions, here are the people that you can contact.
And I want to chime in on those all summer long, those tips and tools. Sally writes really pithy, funny appropriate, timely advice, and that will really be useful to you.
Well, I think our time is up, but again, I would like to thank all of our webinar team, David Lowe, David Bender, Dan Beatty, and our guest presenters, Chris Scorza, Bruce Moody, Banna Miller, Wendy Clark. Again, you know who to contact if you have any questions. We thank you for participating in Blue Star Museums this summer. Get ready for the May 26th national launch announcement. If you have any questions, contact us. And again, thank you and have a great day.